Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Mindfulness for Parent Leaders workshop. We hope that you will enjoy walking through this workshop at your own pace and invite you to have a journal ready so that you can respond to the prompts as we pose them throughout this workshop. Brenda, we are ready to share.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay.
So this workshop is being presented by the Paterson Education Fund. At Paterson Education Fund, our mission is to stimulate community action for change so that Paterson Public Schools ensure that all Paterson children achieve high standards. Uh, my name is Rosie Grant, and I'm Executive Director of Paterson Education Fund. And at this point, I'm going to invite the team to introduce themselves. So I pass with appreciation to Brenda.
I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing for now so that everyone can
Okay.
see our faces. I received the appreciation, Ms. Rosie. Thank you. My name is Brenda Ramos. I'm the Program Director at Paterson Education Fund. And was there a prompt? Not yet. So I'm going to
Just an
pass it
intro.
over. I'm passing it to you, Ms. Vilma, with kindness.
Thank you, Brenda. I accept your kindness. I'm Vilma Ferreri. I am a project manager at PEF. I'm very happy to see all of us participating in this presentation. Thank you. And I pass it to Linda with Seeds of Love.
Thank you, Phil. Linda Reefer, Program Manager and Bookkeeper at Paterson Education Fund. And I'll pass it to Kyrie with some good vibes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kari Tyler with SPAN Parent Advocacy Family Engagement Hub. And I'll pass it to Rosie with energy. I think we can all use some more
I'll
energy.
take it back. I can use the energy on this Monday evening. Thank you. So, Brenda, would you share again, please?
Yes.
This workshop that you will see today is exploring mindfulness through an accessible, community-grounded lens. It invites parent leaders to engage with mindfulness not only as a wellness tool, but also as a culturally diverse practice that is rooted in history, neurobiology, and social emotional learning. Each section blends practical techniques with context so that participants leave with insight, usable skills, and affirming knowledge. We do encourage you to have a notebook or note paper ready to jot down some notes and think about the prompts as we pose them throughout the workshop. This workshop is presented in partnership with the New Jersey Family Engagement Hub, the State Family Engagement Center housed at SPAN Parent Advocacy Network, and we are grateful to SPAN for the opportunity to present this workshop today. So we invite you to check in, although you may be watching this already recorded. We generally, at the beginning of every session, ask people to check in with themselves and with each other. Of course, you don't need to share your name if you're watching this alone, but think about your role in your public schools and in your children's lives and your parents that you work with in their lives, and reflect on how you show up today, not just to watch this recording, but in every part of your life. How do you show up? And if you had to put that in one word or a short sentence that honors that journey, what would that word be? So we will move to our next slide, please. And the next, thank you. I'll pass you on to Linda.
Thank you, Rosie. So we always do agreements, and as you can see, they are be respectful, be fully present, speak from the I perspective, one mic, meaning one person speak at a time. Step up, step back. When you feel that you've spoken too much, take a break, let someone else speak. Listen before speaking. Be comfortable with silence. It's okay. Land the plane and always honor confidentiality. And as you can see, we ask for a thumbs up if you can agree to these. Thank you.
Thank you.
The following slide is a gentle outline. What you can expect from us. This emphasizes that the goal is presence and not completion. First, you can expect clear, inclusive explanations of what mindfulness is and is not. You can expect evidence-based examples of how mindfulness supports families and communities. You can expect 2 short guided mindfulness practices that anyone can try. You can expect a space to reflect on your own experiences, values, and community wisdom. And also resources for home practice and sharing. Thank you.
All right. We will start with what mindfulness is not. There are a lot of misconceptions and myths out there about what mindfulness and mindfulness practice is. And we'll start with what they are not. Mindfulness is not about clearing your mind. I'm sure we have heard that somewhere out in the world. In order to practice mindfulness, you've got to clear your mind. That is incorrect. It's also not religious or exclusive to any one culture, as you'll see later when we talk about cultural wisdom. Mindfulness is not a tool for productivity or performance, although if you ask Fortune 100 companies, they will deny that. And mindfulness is not always calming, which is also a misconception that is out in the world that we will debunk today. Even though you've got all those things going around, and I love this little practicing person on the left-hand side. They have email and laundry and text messages going on. Even through all of that, they are still mindful. And that takes us into what mindfulness is. Starting with a definition, mindfulness is the skill of intentionally paying attention to the present moment with openness and with awareness of the judgment that shows up. It draws from many global traditions and is supported by modern neuroscience as a practice that strengthens awareness, emotional regulation, and relational presence. So presence when we are relating to one another. It includes paying attention on purpose, noticing judgment, positive or negative, tending to yourself and others with compassion, and returning to your anchor again and again. And we'll cover what an anchor is shortly. And Ms. Vilma, I'll hand it to you for the wisdom lineages.
Thank you. Wisdom lineages. While I'm reading, I want to invite all of you participants to think about practices from your own lineages. Explicitly, we want to say that mindfulness was not originated in the United States, and that we practice it in a spirit of honor. We have similar concepts and practices that are embedded in a wide variety of spiritual, religious, and cultural traditions around the world. Mindfulness exists across cultures. We have indigenous ceremony, African diasporic rhythm, Asian contemplative practices, ancestral prayer. Mindfulness also exists across religious traditions. We have the Muslim dhikr, remembrance, the Christian prayer, the Buddhist Dikir, open awareness. We have the Jewish Hitbode Dut, personal prayer, and we have the Hindu Japa, that is a mantra repetitions. And we have to remember to honor the wisdom and not the extract. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Filma. This is a picture of the brain, as you can see. And this slide grounds mindfulness in neurobiology. You don't need to have a science background to understand. You've seen a picture of the brain before and the different sectors of the brain. Mindfulness supports neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to rewire itself based on experiences. Regular mindfulness practices will strengthen the prefrontal cortex. Yes. That's where we tap into for focus and planning. And it also calms the amygdala, which is our stress and threat response. This shift helps parents and children to improve emotional regulation, attention, and learning capacity as well. The science is sort of catching up now to some of the things that we've always known. These are not just individual benefits, they ripple outward into families and into neighborhood. And so when we begin to practice mindfulness, we're somewhat contagious. There's a reduction in anxiety symptoms, increased emotional regulation in parents and youth, lower stress. It lowers that cortisol, the stress hormone, and improves sleep and improves focus. So when we slow down and notice, we're not just calming ourselves, we're also giving our brains a chance to learn, to adapt, and to connect.
Thank you, Rosie. So let's move on to how to practice in 3 steps. Number 1, you want to choose a posture and a place. You can practice mindfulness sitting, standing, moving, like walking, dancing, through doing yoga, through practicing Tai Chi or Qigong, which are Asian practices. You can even practice mindfulness lying down. And the places that you can practice are at home, at the library, when you're driving, even really paying attention to the steering wheel in your hands, when you're on a bus, in nature is most often what people refer to when practicing mindfulness. You can practice it in the shower and basically really anywhere at all that you are, because no one will know that you're practicing. This is an internal noticing and practicing of the present moment. Number 2, you want to choose an anchor. Traditionally, the anchor that practitioners use is the sensation of the natural breath moving through the body, coming in through the nose, going down the back of the throat, into the belly and the lungs, etc. But sometimes that doesn't work for folks. So what do we do when that doesn't work? We move on to choose a different anchor rather. We don't give up, or we try not to give up. We just simply choose something that you can focus on and come back to any time that you get distracted. And examples of possible anchors are maybe a picture of someone who helps you remain calm. It can be a picture of a pet or an, animal friend that you have. It can be the actual animal friend, cats purr, and that is calming to some folks. It can be the low hum of a nearby appliance. It can also be the sensation of your hands in your lap, the weight of your body resting in the seat or your body lying down where you are. It can also be a stone in your hands, a fragrance in the air, basically anything that brings you back to this present moment. And number 3, you want to return, return, return. Come back to your anchor over and over again, no matter how many times you get distracted.
Ms. Brenda, may I interject here?
Of course.
I learned a coping mechanism at a workshop called Emotional Emancipation, which Linda and I actually went together. And it's just occurring to me that that's mindfulness. They explained that when you're in a tough situation or in pain, and I've used it in pain, notice 3 things in the room. Just really notice those things and think about them and focus on them. Or close your eyes and notice 3 sounds and really listen for what you hear with your eyes closed that you might not have heard with your eyes open, or if you weren't paying attention. So as you described mindfulness just now, it just occurred to me that that could be a form of mindfulness practice as well.
I love that, Rosie. Thanks for sharing. And
You're welcome.
it's so true. You know, mindfulness practice has seeped into almost, or many, not almost all, but many different practices. And it's interesting because many of those practices predate what we know today as mindfulness. And yeah, so thank you.
You're welcome.
So yeah, so preparing yourself to practice these particular 7 steps. The first one you'll notice is specifically for your legs. If you're seated on the floor, cross-legged, or like this little picture on the left, she's seated in a chair and her legs are uncrossed with both her feet firmly grounded on the floor. It's meant to help you make a connection to the earth beneath you, because that is something that's very important in traditional cultural practices as well as mindfulness, really connecting to the earth beneath you. So when you're seated, legs are crossed when you're on the floor, uncrossed and grounded on the floor when you're in a chair. Your hands can be gently resting on your thighs or in some sort of posture that helps a sense of ease. Sometimes people place their hand on their heart or on their belly to help breathing. That's always a good idea. Number 3, you'll notice in the little graphic, she's not slouching and she's not resting on the back of the chair. Her spine is upright, but not rigid. Number 4, you want your shoulders to be relaxed away from your ears and even. That means your hips and everything else is even. Number 5, your head, you want to have upright. You're not looking all the way up or looking all the way down. Your chin is just slightly tucked. Your jaw, see if you're holding any tension in your jaw, and maybe you can massage it a little bit and relax it. Allow your jaw to be soft. Number 7, the eyes. You don't always have to close your eyes, as Rosie mentioned in that practice. You can if you want to close your eyes, but if you want to have a different experience or closing your eyes isn't appropriate for that moment, lowering your gaze and having a soft gaze outward is totally okay. You really want to feel what's right for you and your body. There's no perfect shape. This is just an invitation to settle into yourself. Here's our first practice. 3 deep breaths. So Now that we've gone through how to prepare for practice, go ahead and get yourself into a comfortable position. And if you're off camera or if you're watching the replay later on and you want to do this practice lying down, by all means, make yourself as comfortable as possible. Remember, distractions are normal. They are totally normal. Your mind is meant to go wild. That's why clearing the mind is not what mindfulness is about. It's about noticing. Remember to be aware of any judgments that might pop up, even good judgments like, oh, I'm really doing this good. Like, this feels amazing. That is a judgment. It's a positive judgment. And so we don't want to hang on to that and be disappointed that doesn't go the same way in other practices or at other times. Simply notice, that you're doing well or that you're not doing so well. Notice the judgments that pop up and then do your best to let them go. Gently return to breathing to your natural breath without pressure. So this practice is meant for you to notice your breath as it is. You're not holding your breath in any way. You're not forcing it any way. There's no fixing. You're simply greeting your breath. So together, when you're ready, an inhale and exhale at your pace. Inhale. And exhale. And on this last one, we're going to inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a little bit longer. So together we inhale. And then exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Coming back to this moment, here is a reflection for you. In your journal, if you have that handy, if you don't, simply ponder to yourself, what did you notice? And start the reflection with, I notice you can pause the recording here if you need to and continue writing. And I wonder, the next reflection is I wonder, taking a moment to pause and wonder about what this invitation to greet your breathing was like. Right. Please feel free to pause the replay and write a little further if you would like to do that. Journal a little more if you'd like to do that. For now, we're going to move on to practice number 2. And this practice, Rosie, reminded me the story that you shared about what you and Linda practiced or learned in that training. Is this? It's they just covered 2, but this one is the 5 senses anchor. So yeah, taking a moment to ground yourself, maybe taking a couple of deep breaths on your own. You can close your eyes or keep them open if you'd like. Name 5 things you see. Name 5 things you see. And that can be in the space that you're in or in your mind's eye. All right. Name 4 things you feel. And this can be 4 things that you can literally feel by touching, like the clothing that you're wearing, or maybe a stone if you're holding a stone, or your nails. I do that a lot. Or 4 things you feel internally, like the sensation of your breath, maybe the temperature of the air. Next, name 3 things you hear. What are 3 things you can hear in your environment? I live in an apartment, so I hear my neighbor's dog barking and the kids running back and forth.
So
Next,
quiet where I am right now. I hear the fan on my computer.
that is quiet. Next, name 2 things you can smell, a fragrance, an aroma, or 2 things you can imagine smelling, 2 things you can remember smelling. And finally, 1 thing you can taste or imagine tasting. We'll go ahead and end with a nice, deep, full breath. Breathing in and release. This time I'm going to stop sharing so that we can practice the notice and wonder between us here. How does that sound?
It's good.
So for the 5 anchor practice, 5 senses anchor. Does anybody want to share what they noticed?
I noticed that somebody spoke during the exercise. So sorry. Um, but seriously though, I'd taken a sip of tea, and so when it got to taste and smell, because it's a lovely berry tea, I could smell it and taste it, and that might have gone unnoticed if I had not been mindful. Thank you.
Thank you. I definitely noticed my neighbors. They're not noisy. It's just that thin walls, thin floors. It sounds like they're all over the place, but they're downstairs, living life. Anyone else want to share a notice or wonder? All right. I'll go ahead and continue sharing slides. Now, here is a reflection question, the first one of 2. When in your day might you need a mindful return?
That's a good question. So I would say after listening to the mindfulness and paying attention to everything, mine would be when my grandchildren come home from school. They all want to talk at the same time, and everyone wants to get their own story. So by the time all 3 of them finish, I'm like, okay, I need to take a deep breath right now because it's just like a lot.
Mine might be after a meeting. Um, any meeting, but especially anywhere there's conflict or any kind of disagreement, I might need a mindfulness practice to return to what's in front of me. And because there's so much going on in my head, I'm gonna say kind of like every hour on the hour.
That's true.
I'm gonna own it.
Same for me. I'm a mindfulness practitioner and professional, so mindfulness is completely integrated in my daily everything. So anytime, I mean, I literally, there's even one where you can touch your fingertips by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I do that without even realizing that I'm doing it sometimes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the deep breath, and I can keep going.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I do that sometimes too, not aware that that was a mindful thing. I just sometimes just be tapping my fingers.
Yeah.
Wow.
These are ancient practices passed down through our
Mhm.
lineages, and now it's been named as mindfulness because neuroscience finally caught up to our ancient lineages.
Mm.
Wow.
Another one I use is to cross your body or cross your heart. So in this position, with the right arm on the left shoulder, it's crossing my heart, and it's also a coping skill. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's also a mindfulness skill. And
Mhm.
you can even do a lower across your body with the left arm on the right thigh and vice versa. Um, so yeah, I do that a lot. And then to go back to the question, when I'm switching roles,
Mm,
so I've spent the day working and I pull in the driveway, or even if I'm working from home, I'm gonna switch role. I'm gonna go from being Paterson Education Fund's executive director to wife and mother. I
mm,
find that that might be a nice place to do a mindful return.
Mm.
great. What about you, Vilma? Are you thinking of one?
I think I just have to practice more. I mean, I was listening to Rosie, switching places, but sometimes you do it automatically. Or sometimes when I'm speaking English and language, I said, what language was I speaking? So yes, and sometimes I'm talking about different things. And I say, oh my God, my mind is in one place, so I just need to relax and return, go back to
Mm,
what I was previously thinking. I lose my thoughts.
mm,
So I think I need more practice and reflect on my mindfulness. Thank you.
mm. Thanks for sharing, Vilma. Carrie, do you have some time to share?
Um, I'm trying to think as far as with like mindfulness, I don't really get too much time with that. I don't know. I'm still trying to keep up with the baby, so it's just a lot
Mm.
of just take what moments I can. Usually, I guess around when he's asleep, but by that point, I'm about halfway asleep too.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So I will share my screen again. On to the next prompt. Reflection number 2. Rosie, would you like to take that one?
Sure. So this one's a question for you again to think about. Jot the answers down in your journal or talk with some people. You can share this even if you're not sharing the entire workshop. What practices have your elders or ancestors used to stay present through difficulty? And I'll answer it, and then if anyone else wants to, you can. Anyone that's online right now, song, some survival skills, everyday survival, song, food, storytelling, dancing, drumming, poetry, quilting, stillness. Um, it could be something spiritual or something traditional. And the one that stands out most for me is song. My mother, my sister, my brother, one of the three brothers, we all sing under different circumstances. I remember as a young child, we'd actually sing together in the living room, not just in church. But there's a song for every situation, and I still find myself singing even through the tough times. There are songs that will carry me through, and then there are songs to celebrate. And um, my colleagues and friends know I have a song for every situation. So that's the one that I learned and or inherited. I don't know, from my elders and ancestors. Does anyone else here have a practice that, as you think about it, is something mindful that you learned from your elders or your ancestors?
Yes, I learned from my mom to pray the rosary
Mm,
when people were sick or when we needed some kind of guidance. And I sometimes we used to go to my aunt's house and just pray all together with use the rosary to pray. That's something that kept us connected. But
okay.
I kind of I lost that kind of practice with my sisters. So yeah, I think like 2 months ago, I think a friend died, and I talked to my mom. I said, "Mom, do you want me to bring a rosary so we can pray?" So I still have it in me, but I need to
Mhm.
practice. I lost a lot of traditional healing practices. I do.
Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing that, Vilma.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything they want to share?
I have one. Humor.
Hmm.
Humor.
Hmm.
Like humor in it, like a teasing kind of way through difficult times, but there's a difference. I learned that there's a difference between teasing and like putting someone down, and
Mm.
teasing and uplifting them. So
Hmm.
that's the practice that has helped me bring levity into
Hmm.
hard times, um, with joy and laughter.
Great, thank you. Drumming is probably another one of mine. I drum. I love to drum. I will drum on anything, and my son does that as well. But I never learned to play the drums. I just play the drums and I play them well. So people are usually surprised that I've never had a class. But I don't know. I think it's in my DNA. It's
I,
from my ancestors.
I think so.
Mm.
All right, let's move to the next slide. And Vilma, would you like to take this slide?
Yes. This slide is talking about the mindfulness practice, which we know already is a form of meditation, where we have to pay attention to the present moment without judgments. And we have here two two practices. We have the formal practices and informal practices. In parentheses, we have the word on the cushion and off the cushion. So it is just like them cushion is like it's a metaphor that signifies that this formal set aside approach to meditation. Even though the practices themselves don't always require a cushion like we see it in informal. So in the formal on-cushion practices, we have the seated meditation, guided body scans, breath awareness in stillness, walking meditation in nature. In the informal of the cushion practices, we have deep breath before responding to a child, noticing textures while washing dishes, naming emotions during conflict without judgment, and especially savoring a moment of quiet. It could be in the car, in the house, in a room. In general, mindfulness lives wherever our attention lands with care.
Love that.
Thank you.
And Linda, would you like to?
So some optional practice tools. There, Brenda has put a list together with some free apps, some websites that you can go to get materials to help you out. Even some parenting books. Talk about original instructions from Indigenous teachers for a sustainable future. Sounds like a pretty good beginning. And then have the local community circles that restorative practices, storytelling. It's a grounding tool. You just some samples of some poetry out there for everyone who needs help in just helping keeping focus, Always good to have a bunch of tools at hand to fall back on.
Thank you, Linda. And we've arrived at our closing reflection. What are you taking from this training that supports you and your work? Please take a moment in your journals when you're watching the replay. If you don't have a journal handy, come back to it. And as Rosie mentioned earlier, share these practices, share this training with folks that you know, and talk about what was in this training that might support you and your work and your families to really be present with each other. I know for myself, I love sharing mindfulness everywhere I go. So this has been very helpful and very fun to share this with the team and the team over at SPAN. And thank you for inviting us to do this.
What I'm taking from this training is that I have to practice more mindfulness because sometimes I don't focus or I'm not aware, not only of my feelings, but sometimes my surroundings and the sensations I'm aware right now of all the trees, but it's just like an enjoyment and I forget about my own feelings. Or sometimes even with other people, you're supposed to be to acknowledge their feelings. And sometimes we think, we said before, we need we need to sit down. No, we can always do it informally. So that's what I'm gonna start doing now, Brenda. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you, Vilma. Anyone else have a reflection on what might support you?
I love research. I love learning. And so I'm going to be checking out your resources page and following those links and seeing what I can discover. Thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, to go to some of those links and check it out.
And if you want more, I got plenty.
I'm sure you do.
I love to share.
Thank you
Brenda,
for
I want to look
sharing.
up your blog too.
Oh my
You have a
goodness.
blog, don't you?
Yes, I do on Substack.
Okay.
That was a little racy. It's a little on the spicy side.
Okay.
Little
But it's mindful.
yes, it is. All right. Well, we've come to the close of this training. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the replay, if you're watching the replay. And I'll end with this quote by Thich Nhat Hanh. He's a Vietnamese Zen master, anti-colonial peace activist who transitioned. He's now an elder. Since 2022, I believe he passed away. And he wrote, "When you love someone, the best thing you can offer is your presence. How can you love if you're not there? How can you love if you are not there?" I love that quote. And I'll stop sharing. And
Thank you, Brenda. Thank